Hare Smaran, Prabhupada Ki Jai, Lord Premanande, Slava Zabrani Bhakti, Shri Guru, Shri Ranga. Om Again Durandasya Ganandana Salakaya, Tatsurum Militam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, Stavitam Yena Bhutale, Swayam Rupa Kadamayam, Vidati Swapadantikam, Vandeham Shri Guru, Shri Uta Pada Kamalam, Shri Guru Vaishnavascha, Shri Rupam Sagrajatam, Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam, Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Saitam, Krishna Chaitanya Devam, Shri Radha Krishna Padan, Sahagana Lalita, Shri Vasakan Dvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandha Gadgate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurambi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishna Manu Sindhudevi Pranamami Ripriye Pancha Kalpa Taruyascha Ripa Sindhu Meja Adiranam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhupada Shri Advaita Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So, as we all know, today is the auspicious appearance day of Srivas Thakur, and this morning Adi Prushpuru has given a very nice class describing what is described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Chaitanya Bhagavad about Srivas Thakur. So rather than repeating everything over again, I'll just mention a few things about Srivas Pandit that, of course, as we heard, when Prabhupada was in New York in 1966, he was giving a lecture at a underground bar, actually. And we can imagine the type of people who gathered at that lecture. They weren't high-class scholars, nor are they very familiar with the Krishna consciousness movement, because there was no Krishna consciousness movement. So Prabhupada's lecture was about the Panchatattva. It didn't seem that he was very concerned that people understood the intricacies about the Panchatattva. He didn't explain. He said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. Lord Nityananda's first expansion. Advaita Acharya is his plenary expansion, or part of a plenary expansion. Srivas Gadadhar Pandit is his internal energy, and Srivas Thakur is the pure Brahmana devotee. Being an incarnation of Narada Muni, of course, Narada Muni is the great spiritual master within our universe. He has quite exalted disciples. If you judge the spiritual master by his disciples, if you have a list of disciples like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Vyasadeva, you're doing quite well as a spiritual master. And he's part of the Panchatattva. The Panchatattva has come here in order to break open the storehouse of love of God. that Krishna appeared here 5,000 years ago and displayed transcendental pastimes. Although people thought they were material, they thought that so many things about Krishna, otherwise why would Jarasandha come so many times, 17 times, in order to kill him? And of course then Kalyavana also came, and so many people came to see Krishna, but not with the highest consciousness. Most people thought he was an ordinary personality, maybe a wealthy prince, a powerful person, but just after all, another mundane person. Imagine the fight between Rukmini and Krishna. Every time Rukmini took up a bow, Krishna would, with his arrow, he'd cut his bowstring. No, that's quite accurate. He cut someone's bowstring. You have to be a pretty good archer. And that happened time and time again. And then every arrow Krishna counteracted that Rukmini shot. Rukmini threw all kinds of lances and bludgeons, whatever else. And Krishna counteracted it all. And yet Rukmini still thought he was an ordinary person. And he also thought Balaram was an ordinary person, which is much to his disadvantage. And he played him chess. And he declared that actually he was the winner, at least his friend, king of Kalunga, declared that Rukmini was actually the winner when he was actually the loser. And he wound up with quite a big headache because of that. People thought Krishna was ordinary, and yet he had the sublime pastime, especially the rasa dance. It was so ecstatic, and considering that it lasted 4,300,000 times 1,000 years, which is 4,300,000,000 years, it was quite a interesting dance. In America they had a song, "I could have danced all night." So this is simply exemplary of that song. But because people didn't understand who Krishna is, therefore they cannot what to speak of understanding Krishna's associates. They certainly couldn't understand Krishna's pastimes. It was inaccessible. How the Supreme Moralist could dance with other people's wives, how he could, in his childhood, steal from everyone's house, how he could head up a group of mafiosa in Vrindavan, constantly stealing, terrorizing the neighborhood, how he could wind up killing even a bull at one point. Even Radharani was surprised. My friend Krishna has killed a bull, and he killed a calf, he killed a horse, he killed a duck. The whole forest was being wiped out. So people could not understand who Krishna was or what his activities are. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with his associates. He got the best associates. And they created the rasa dance in Kali Yuga through the Sankirtan movement, which is not different from Krishna's pastime in the rasa dance. The only difference is that even ordinary people with no qualification could enter into it. In Krishna's rasa dance in Vrindavan, Lord Shiva wanted to enter into the rasa dance, but he was not allowed. But in Kali Yuga, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has his Sankirtan movement, Lord Shiva can come and participate without having to change his form into that of a gopi. And similarly, even a drunkard off the street, Jagai and Madhai, even they could participate. And we can all participate in this rasa dance. We simply have to, as we explained this morning, when the Brahmana who only drank milk and ate fruit was hiding in the house of Srivas Thakur during the Srivas Anga pastimes, kirtans, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discovered him and he was going to throw him out. But because he changed his attitude, therefore he was actually allowed to enter into the Sankirtan, the nocturnal pastimes of Sankirtan that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was having with his associates. So similarly, we're having this chanting of Hare Krishna. We've been told it's not different from Krishna, and we've also been told that there are different stages of transcendental experience by which gradually we can experience Krishna's presence. Not only Krishna's presence, but the whole spiritual world, which means Krishna plus all of his transcendental associates, we can actually enter into those pastimes. And according to our degree of development of faith, which means how consistently we're concentrating our minds on Krishna, which means how consistently we're engaged in service to Krishna, with the attitude of love, to please Krishna. To that extent, we go from Shraddha to Sadhu Sangha, to Bhajana Kriya, to Anartha Vritti, to Nishtha, to Ruchi, to Sakti, to Bhava, to Prema, and then we begin. Prema is not the end. There's also Sneha, Mana, Raga, Anuraga, Bhava, Mahabhava, and different stages of Mahabhava. I'm sure most of us would settle for a little bit of Prema. We'll bargain for the other things later on. But that's made available through the Sankirtan movement. How much we're willing to participate in Hare Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, and especially, well, along with that, giving the Hare Krishna, giving Krishna to others. So Srivas Thakur, and they're making arrangements for the Sankirtan movement. He's the original, Narada Muni is the exalted spiritual master, who's also the spiritual masters are trying to engage their followers in Krishna's service. When Ramaswar Prabhu asked Srila Prabhupada about, is it true that in the book distributors are in the same mood as the gopis who are trying to bring others to engage in Krishna's service? And Prabhupada said, you've understood correctly. In other words, book distributors, or even ourselves, when we're trying to engage others in chanting Hare Krishna and Krishna's service in this age, then we're acting in the same mood as the gopis, trying to bring others to Krishna. So Krishna is very pleased by that endeavor. And everyone is supposed to act as a spiritual master, following as Srivas Thakur. He arranged for the Sankirtan movement in his house at the beginning. And so we also should arrange for ourselves to participate in the Sankirtan movement and to get others to participate too. That's called the disciple succession. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has explained that actually we're not the doer of the activities. The doer is carried out by the material nature, or the spiritual nature. When we're performing activities for sense gratification, then the activities are carried out by the external energy. And when we're performing activities in devotional service, as a service to representatives in the disciple succession, what is actually manifested is the activities of the spiritual world. So those who are engaging us in the activities of the spiritual world, they're considered to be spiritual masters. And everyone is supposed to be Yari Dekha, Tari Kaha, Krishna Upadesh, Amar Aga Guruhana Tari Desh. Everyone is supposed to become a spiritual master by serving the Panchatattva, of which Srivas Thakur is a representative of the spiritual master, who is teaching us how to enter into service of the Panchatattva in this age. By serving our disciple succession, the instructions coming down, then we become servants of the 6 Goswamis. Specifically, the 6 Goswamis are teaching us how to engage our present body, mind, and words in Krishna service, and so that by engaging in such service of the Panchatattva, with our body, mind, and words, the Sankirtan movement, we can feel the same separation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling. Our whole disciple succession is feeling separation from Krishna in the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As Raghunath Das Goswami was writing in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, describing how Lord Chaitanya was at Govardhan Hill, embracing the rock of Govardhan Hill, and that Raghunath Das Goswami's mind went completely crazy, feeling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's separation from Krishna. So we can also feel the same separation. We can actually feel Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's separation from Krishna in the mood of Srimati Radharani if we engage in the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's representatives. That's the whole idea. That by serving in the Sankirtan movement under the direction of the representatives of the Panchatattva, the 6 Goswamis specifically, and their representatives, which is our disciple succession. Our disciple succession is made up of those who are actually representing the 6 Goswamis. And we follow them, then we get connected through our disciple succession. Just like if the wire is connected to the electricity outlet, then there'll be electricity, there'll be power. So when we're connecting to these instructions, the activities, and the mood, especially the mood of separation, then we're actually connected with the Panchatattva, and the Panchatattva is connected to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's actually living in Vrindavan through feelings of separation. The whole Goloka Vrindavan is manifested when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present, because that's where he's actually living, although he appears to be in this world now. Or as Vidura, Maharaj Yudhisthira told Vidura when he returned home, Bhavan Vidas Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhutak Swayam Vibho Tirtha Koravanti Tirthani Svantak Stenagata Vritaha. That saints like yourself, they're actually saint places of pilgrimage. Because wherever you go, you turn that place into a place of pilgrimage, because you carry Krishna within your heart. So we have to, somehow or another, remember Krishna in the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva, and then we'll actually be associated with Krishna. We may not realize it at first. If you put the iron to the fire, then gradually it gets hotter and hotter. And if we don't take it out of the fire and put it into something else, like water, then it'll keep on getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and then one day it'll just be like fire. So we sometimes use the word, get fired up. So we're all supposed to get fired up in the fire of Krishna consciousness. Lord Nityananda was the personal associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Advaita Acharya, he was the one who called for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda to come. Although he's God himself, he felt that he could not actually save the people in this world. That only something as powerful as the intense feelings of separation of Srimati Radharani from Krishna could actually wake up the conditioned souls in this age. That feeling of separation is so great that it even puts Krishna under control. Like everything about Srimati Radharani puts Krishna under control. And Radharani's, she's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Audarya, compassion. So everyone who's in the Panchatattva is filled with this compassion for the suffering of the conditioned souls in this age, and are making plans how to deliver them. And the representative who gives us the instructions how to serve the Panchatattva is the spiritual master represented by Srivas Thakur, and shows the example of making the arrangements for the Sankirtan movement. As Srila Prabhupada we can see, the reason why he was Saktavesh Avatar, and the Acharya, the founder Acharya of our society, is he showed how to make arrangements not only in a place like India, but in every place in the whole world, with all the varied cultures, how to make arrangements to engaging people in the Sankirtan movement, how to get people to chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam, hear about Krishna, as Lord Nityananda had requested, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had requested Lord Nityananda to tell people, Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna Shika. We just chant Krishna's names, follow Krishna's instructions, and worship Krishna, then we'll actually get Krishna's association. And the Panchatattva, actually our whole disciple succession, will be pleased by that. Spiritual advancement means not simply our endeavor in itself will not give us spiritual advancement. But if people were pleased by people's service, then we'll make spiritual advancement. Prabhupada said if we do something, of course there's two ways of looking at it. If Krishna is pleased by our service, then if we feel Krishna's pleasure, then we'll make spiritual advancement. And if we're pleased by other people's service, then we'll also make spiritual advancement. So this is the basic principle. Srivas Thakur is showing us how to please the Panchatattva, and he's also, if we engage in his service, in the service of the Panchatattva, then he'll be pleased and we'll make spiritual advancement. So it's a very simple process. We just have to be simple, and then we'll get Krishna's association, his servant's association, and service to his service. And that service is service to the loving feelings of Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So if we serve something like that, we can't go wrong. All other types of service are just a waste of time. Service to the love between Radha and Krishna, helping to foster that loving exchanges, simply means to increase the ocean of transcendental bliss. And the more we engage in such service, then the more we'll drown in such an ocean. So it's nice to at least take a dip, but it's even better to drown. So I'll stop there. Any questions? Yes?
I don't know if there is a clear answer to this, but I was just wondering, Narada Muni is usually celibate, and Srivas Thakur has been said to be the incarnation of Narada Muni, but he's a grihasta. So
yeah, there's variety in transcendental pastime. I think there was one, it says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there was one incident where I think Narada Muni got involved with some lady. But they're transcendental. They're not, their activities are not mundane. Like Lord Nityananda, sometimes we think he was who's an avadhuta, a sannyasi, but he also got married. But their marriages are not like our marriages. Srivas Thakur, he had a son, he died. He had a son. Anyhow, I don't think we can't consider any of their activities mundane. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Srivas Thakur ki jai. Srivas Thakur's appearance day ki jai. Gaur Prahladananda.